This claims number is terrible. It's going the wrong way. It remained elevated, even when it was coming down. This 778,000 makes me nervous that we're seeing another round of weakness in the jobs market. The continuing claims coming down, I believe, is offset by the idea that you're having people losing their benefits and rolling over into this pandemic emergency unemployment compensation. So that seems to be on the rise. I was just looking, that was up by, it looks like, 132,000 in the week of November 7th. So that's a problem. Switch to the other side. I've been quite surprised at the resilience on the business side. The idea that we have a strong non-defense aircraft, capital goods orders, non-defense aircraft, doing up 0.7% or 0.07% is pretty good. The idea that there's still investment going out there. What I was able to see on the manufacturing, on the durable side, is that a lot of it's going on in the computer space. The stay-at-home products that are being manufactured really seem to be propelling this economy right now. And we're ready for a shift, Becky, but I think there's some tough times ahead before the vaccine starts to propel this economy.
Yeah, probably not a surprise given some of the shutdowns that we've seen, some of the additional measures that states and local governments are taking to try and combat what's happening with the pandemic. But Jim, what do you think about that? We have been waiting for these signs, and maybe we are starting to get a few signs that we're going to see things that get a lot worse before they get better.
I think we're seeing, like Steve says, a little bit of evidence of that, the initial claim numbers in particular. I think what encourages me a little bit about the job market is when I look at total continuing claims, Becky, which to me is the best measure of what might happen for the jobs report coming up here in early December, because it includes not only new layoffs, but also new hirings. And when I look at those numbers, not just for the continuing claims, but also for the pandemic-related claims in total, that number has been coming down, continuing to come down here all month. And I think that it would suggest to me that we're going to have another pretty healthy December jobs number. So I think these claims can waffle around a little bit, but I look at those numbers, they're pretty good. We had two tremendously good market ISM numbers here just in the last week. Yeah, both in services and in manufacturing. Yeah, yes, Steve.
Not this time, Jim. You were right that the total claims numbers have been coming down, but the latest data for through November 7th, let me just do the calculation here. It is up 135,000 total claims. So you were right. The total claims numbers, which had been the 20 million range, had been coming down. This week is the first one going back a long way here. I got to go back to August to find a week it didn't come down. It went up this time, total claims in the economy.
I agree, Steve. I agree. But I think the trend for this month that's going to go into that payroll number on early December is going to be positive. That's my point. And it's 1 week. And if I put that together with the fact that Consumer Comfort Index went up to pandemic highs just last week and the market ISM's really strong, we got housing numbers for the month that have been really strong. I think when I look at aggregate, I still see a fair amount of momentum here.
Hey, Allison, I think longer term we are looking at some good news, and the market has seen that. That's why we're sitting at these new highs. I guess my question is short term, what kind of damage is done, and what the government could or should be doing right now to prevent some of that long-term damage from taking place. Just about every politician agrees that we need to get PPP, the Payroll Protection Plan, back up and running and doing something. How could we go about doing that? What should we be doing right now?
I think it's obvious that we need to pass a stimulus in as soon as possible. I think what we're seeing from these numbers is how divided the economy is. If you're a corporation that's well financed and you can look to the future looks really bright, but we've got at least 6 months to get through. Like, I think back to how we were talking in the spring when we were so naive of we're just going to put the economy to sleep for a couple months and then we're going to grow like crazy. Well, that turned out not to be true, but it might be true now that we actually have a lot of devastation ahead of us, but some relief in sight. And I think, as I said, this data shows just how divided the economy is. And I think the jobs numbers in some ways are even worse than they look. Because in most years, you think you usually have this big boost in jobs when people are doing all this extra work around the holidays, like in retail and all this stuff. And those jobs are not going to be there this year.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.